Yeah.
What is going on, traders? It's been a hot minute since I've done one of these, and I have a little bit of time this weekend, so I am going to be charting the top 25 by market cap stocks in the S&P 100, the Nasdaq 100, a list I call the movers, which are just stocks that I find interesting, that are fairly volatile, and then finally I'll be charting anything that you guys put in by request. And I'll be checking the YouTube chat off and on as I'm charting today. And hopefully not too delayed. There is a little bit of a delay on this. I think around 5 to 8 seconds to start. It typically grows as the stream goes on. So anyway, without further ado, I guess I'll just start with the S&P 100 and start with Apple here. So Apple up at the top of channel resistance on the weekly. This is a bit of a sloppily drawn chart, so we'll change this. There we go. All right, so I'm looking up here top left on the daily. We got 1, 2, the third point. I think Apple has room to move to the upside here. We're sort of bull flagging here on the last week. So very likely, and it's making higher lows, so that is our clue that it is still bullish, right? Look at this on the right. So the most likely place to find liquidity here on Apple is to the upside, especially because you have this nice orderly channel. And yes, we're at the upper end of it. I understand that. So, could sell off here, but I think short term, with how the indexes have sort of all been holding up on lower volume, it would be natural to move up and at least tag this and maybe go above it. So short term, Apple, despite this crazy move on the weekly, it's broken out here. It's in a short term kind of channel thing going on. It would not surprise me one bit to break out of this consolidation, test higher, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe a pullback, okay? And I will be charting, by the way, the SPY, IWM, QQQ, and Diamonds, DIA, which is the Dow Jones. But we'll do that towards, let's see, after we finish the Nasdaq 100. And I sure hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, I think it's probably likely that I'm not muting myself in some stupid way, but I didn't check the output on this thing, so let me go see real quick. Output. All right, and then the audio input. Let's make sure. Looks like no viewers, so or what? Okay, thank you, Dirk. I appreciate that you can hear me here because it's been a little while since I've used OBS, and I was just relying on the settings. So anyway, let's get back to it. So, okay, Apple looking bullish. All right, mark it up towards Fat Man G, or the FANG stocks plus Tesla. Microsoft, also at the upper edge of a channel. You see we've got a little alert up here on the weekly. When it breaks that, I want to know about it. So I put an alert on the diagonal here in Thinkorswim. So really way up there at that channel high. It is also in a consolidation on the 30-minute, but it has been pulling back a little bit. It hit the trend line, broke above, and pulled back. So also, I mean, obviously, it's near all-time highs, but it's holding up. So it is also bullish. Google up at the top of its channel, but it's how many taps has it had? 1, 2, 3, up 4 here. So it's, again, it's showing strength as well on the weekly. obviously overextended. At some point, these markets are going to come back to reality, but I'm looking at the shorter term time horizon here, a week or two out, something like that. Next week, right? That sort of thing. So Google has already pulled back and kind of held this previous high and now is bouncing up. This would be a good buy point to target maybe all-time highs or something like that, right? And because you have nice, maybe your stop is below this candle here. So, what's your risk reward? You're entering here, somewhere in this area. Depends on if we gap up or not. And then you're targeting all-time highs. So, it's about 1-to-1 risk reward for a very short-term swing. Maybe you even put your stop here, something like that. But I think it's likely to get hit with a little bit of, even just a little bit of volatility Tuesday morning. Because, Monday is Labor Day. So, anyway, another pretty bullish chart, I would say. Okay, so let's chalk that one. That's also Google here. This other one, the Google with an L, is where I have my alerts. Anyway, Amazon heading back up into the upper region again. So it needs to break this level. This is an important level with volume profile. Even on the weekly, you could see we hit just the underside of that range where I thought we might get resistance. And we've had a nice orderly little pullback here on Amazon. See, all right, just kind of a multi-day bull flag, starting to break out of that now. So it wouldn't surprise me for Amazon to break to the upside a little bit and sort of test just a little bit higher. So Amazon also looking bullish. Remember what the indexes did on Friday, right? Kind of a weak NFP, and then they held up, right? Went and tested the end of month level, which was 45.20, and couldn't sell off beneath it, and just sort of moved up all day long, right? So it's not like I'm talking the S&P 500 futures. They're not selling the market, right? There are not, for the moment at least, there are not any real sellers in the market. So anyway, Apple kind of going with that theme, also bullish. Facebook broke all-time highs, pulled back, but it has been steadily making higher lows, higher highs. So in an uptrend, you would expect it to bounce here. It might actually be a decent place to buy Facebook, right? Look at the structure. It just keeps consolidating, moving up. So we have this trend line here. We broke out of it, right? Kind of surprised me on the weekly here, right? 1, 2, 3, and up. And now we're in a very sharp channel. A little bit of sideways wouldn't surprise me, but with where everything else is, looking at Apple and all the rest, if they all start to move to the upside, then Facebook will probably follow. Tesla, this thing has really been basing nicely. Look at the move relative to this area, right? We have this consolidation and then boom, explosion. Here we have pullback, right? Higher low, and it's kind of looking bull shape here. Let's see if I can get another tool to mess around with here. All right, come on. Waiting for the tool. Okay, here we go. Right, so right here, it's just curling up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of come back down. It would be healthy, but this red box here is the level that it really has struggled with, right? It came up here, pushed back off of it. Again, got close to it, pushed back. So, Tesla is just chopping short-term traders up. But this is usually what leads to a longer-term move to the upside. So, here, let's get rid of this. See if we actually can. Okay, good. That's a newer drawing tool that I've been using. Okay, so Tesla is looking, to me, quite bullish. Last weekend I was charting this, and I was just noting up here in this area how it moved, which, right, we had this little consolidation area, right? And then it ripped up all the longs, probably found stops, sort of end of day pre-market and then went straight back upside. So if we kind of consider this, is this a little bit of the same move? Are traders already noticing, hey, we did it this time, so they bought it up sooner here? Possibly. So wouldn't be surprised if Tesla moves to the upside here on this chart. All right, let's go and get out of this thing. Berkshire. Interesting chart. Almost looks like a double top. I don't know what the portfolio looks like for Berkshire, so we'll ignore this. I had this as a buy zone. Maybe just a few ticks into it. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, and we break all-time highs, then I'm interested again, but not interested with this here. Kind of a lower volume. Who wants to trade against Mr. Buffett? Nvidia. I've been bearish Nvidia since in here, and I was absolutely proven wrong. So anyway, symmetrical triangle. We're coming up on the measure move objective, which is 235. That is, you calculate that by the lowest part of the symmetrical triangle to looking straight above to the trend line, and then just doubling that from where it breaks out, and that's about 235. So Nvidia has been strong and still moving to the upside. I ordered a new computer. I did not use Nvidia, so who knows? They might be selling off because I'm not supporting them anymore. Let's see. So it looks good. Visa. Oh, what an interesting chart. Really on this weird trend line support here. So let's see how it behaves. This is a consolidation area. This is an LVN on the weekly. You can kind of see it on the daily here. So maybe support is down in this area just based on volume. That's kind of interesting, but it's an interesting spot nonetheless on the weekly for this sort of this rising ascending triangle breakout here. So we're coming all the way back to that area. So very, very interesting. It's almost with all the Fed news and talking about the raising of interest rates that probably won't occur until late 2022 or something like that. Seems like there's a little bit of disappointment here from people investing in Visa. So kind of an interesting pullback, maybe an area to buy here. But right, you can kind of set your risk pretty tight. So it's if we do make this higher low on the weekly and then push up, it's kind of a nice spot to put on some risk in this area here. Maybe underneath that trend line and into the volume, the meat of the volume on the volume profile for the weekly. So anyway, Jpmorgan, right? Tried this little head and shoulders thing, which was interesting. Let's look here. Expand this thing. Right, here's what I'm talking about. Right, this, and then it kind of tried little fake out. Now we're back. So making higher lows, still higher highs. Would not be surprised for Jpmorgan to make new highs. So this is a nice place to put on risk. Maybe here, let me change the color on this to something like bright yellow. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And all right, we already easily came back and violated this support area, but kind of fakey, isn't it? I mean, higher highs, higher lows. I mean, it's a little dirty, but not a bad spot to put on some risk. Interesting. I still think it's bullish, just based on higher highs and higher lows. Oh, I'm getting a warning from Google. So apparently my stream's bitrate is lower than recommended. Whatever. Johnson & Johnson. I was interested in buying it on this trend line right here. it never hit it. It was like a few ticks above. So I was not alerted to give this thing a short-term buy, but it would have been nice, 3 points off that area. So, but Johnson and Johnson, let's see, let's check out the weekly here. It has some room for the upside. I like these moves where it sort of came down, kind of made this inverted head and shoulders, and now we're just sort of grinding up. So Johnson and Johnson, more room to the upside. Walmart, I was interested in potentially buying it here. It came down, bounced above, of course, so never got the alert. But Walmart still looks to be on the daily, impulsing out, making a higher low. So the assumption would be go test the all-time high, so looking bullish. United Healthcare, let's see, how far are we into it? About 10? Okay. Oh my gosh, my kid is animated. Let's see. So United Healthcare broke all-time highs, pulled back sharply, or I would say there was just mechanical, very orderly selling after that, and it's still making a higher low. So the assumption is room left in the channel, go make higher highs, new all-time highs. So looking more bullish on that. Proctor and Gamble, just looking about what this thing is doing here. Was looking for a buy in this area, a pullback, didn't get it. So relative to this little area here on the daily, it is, let's see, it is still making higher highs. But, it's a questionable kind of thing because we've pulled up, came in kind of ahead, maybe a right shoulder. So, if it breaks 144, maybe 145-ish, then I would say on to challenge all-time highs of like 147s or something like that. So not a huge mover, not that interesting, but still looking more on the bullish side. Home Depot. You could see where I was interested to buy it. It never got there. 290, 293s. 293.27. Bounced just above it. So I never got an alert. This alert has been here for quite some time. Anyway, you could see, didn't quite get there. On the daily, we're doing this, right? So we can call it, compression in here, making higher lows. So 1, 2, go a little sideways and then break it, probably onto all-time highs as well. Bank of America, higher lows and higher highs. It has the same look as Jpmorgan, right? Where it's kind of like this was a head and shoulders kind of look, although this made a higher right shoulder. It started to break down off this neckline. Everybody got bearish on it, and now it's back up to the upside. So it might be the fundamentals might be driving this, I think, a little bit more than the technicals, just knowing what's around the corner for the banks. Okay, PayPal, we have an earnings gap that it went and looks like it did it almost fill? Yeah, very close. So let's see if it goes and fills it. We're still making, right, generally on getting faster with this tool, making higher lows, right, and higher highs like this, right? So the assumption would be we continue to do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Here, 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 higher lows. But let me get rid of all this here. Where is my eraser? Is that my eraser? Yeah, okay. Erase it all so that it doesn't keep coming up every time. Okay, back to this. So yeah, still higher lows, higher highs. PayPal looking healthy, looking good. Let's get rid of this. Peyton Smith says WMC has huge potential to skyrocket. Well, we'll take a look at WMC at some point. We were looking at WMT Peyton. So let's take a look. This is Mastercard, and it looks, I mean, on the weekly, we're still making higher lows. Oh, let's take a look here again. Of course, like, you know, this, but this structure here in this area, it needs to provide support, right, and continue to make higher lows and push up. So I'm not interested until this comes into this 100-day simple moving average and curls up. Then I'm interested. But for now, this is looking like, you know, tried to break out, tried to go again, and in here, so this is the all-time high, and then it made a lower high. And now relative to this area, we're making a lower low. So it looks like it's trend down short term. And you can see that on the daily, right? We're coming in like this or whatever. Curls more like that. So if this thing starts to gain momentum, I don't know. It's, you know, still big portion of volume in this area. So that's what I was talking about here. It needs to flip here short term for me to get interested. It could be that it comes down in here into the volume node and then tests this upper volume node. So it could be an interesting trade from 330 to 360, and then a little short here on a swing time frame back to like 350, right? So that would put it at, if you could get filled here, get long, get out into upper 350s, and if you can get a short into 360s, right? And then if you take sort of the move here that, let's say you're long from here, and then you're out here, and then you split the move in half, cover your short into this area, or which is what, 345. Just scale in, and then you can put tight risk in here, right? You get some sort of little intraday topping tail, get short in this area, and then your risk is above here, and then your profit, your target is right in here. So it's actually better than, it's close to 2-to-1 risk reward that way. And if you're going long in this area, maybe your stop's here, right? Sort of in the LVN, and let's say you're long right in from 330s, you're targeting 350s. So 15-point stop, maybe 18 to 20-point profit taker, something like that. So it's pretty good risk reward, but you know, could get very choppy, and this could also find more momentum than it has been. It's curling down, so you know, it might stretch out a little bit on you. So even though you have good risk reward based on the structure here, these kind of moves that look like this often do extend down with momentum. So it's kind of a high risk play, but I think it's interesting. Let's see, let's get this. All right, there's probably a one-click button to erase all. Let's see. Clear screen. There it is. Okay, never mind. All right, so next thing, Disney. But I will make a note. I'll add it. I'm going to add it to my movers list. WMC. And we'll chart it later. Disney. This has been disappointing a lot of folks, right? What's interesting about Disney, I'm looking here on the daily chart, is okay, we have this sort of pennant look. We break above it. We just break this area and then sell off like crazy on, you know, this is earnings. And now we're grinding up once again. So coming up to this all important, what I would call 186, 187 level. I don't know. The fact that we're kind of coming up to it again for a third time means we're probably going to go try and break it. I'm interested at 188, so above the highs here. You know, this pattern is kind of more like this now, isn't it? So I'm kind of interested in this level above this trend line and into what is an alert here. So kind of still looking kind of bullish to me given they sold it off on earnings, but now we're grinding up. So very interesting. Adobe has hit its measured move target. Man, and I was talking about this way back when in here, and I was like, just wouldn't be don't be surprised when we go hit the MMT, or measured move target, or I also call it MMO, measured move objective. So anyway, it's up here at this weekly trend line. It's poked above, sideways pullback is very likely, is what I think. I know it's in an uptrend. I get it. It's super structured, but these weekly kind of trend lines typically act as some kind of resistance, or at least it pulls back. And it's a balanced move here, right? It's a measured move target. We've already hit it. It corresponds with the trend line. That's good confluence for at least take your profits. So anyway, Comcast, my internet provider, been saying this thing is healthy in a channel, and it keeps making another move higher. So it's breaking out short term of this area here. See that? So measured move on this would be about 65, but not a big mover. Pfizer. Look at that thing go. A little dirty. Okay, so anyway, Pfizer hit the upper trend line where I had an alert to short it. Did I short it? I did not, but I wish I did. Anyway, poked just above, found liquidity, and sold off. So here we are right here on Pfizer, right around the 50% retracement on this last, let's see if we can scroll in a bit. 50% retracement off sort of this breakout move here, and we bounced here. So if it's really bullish, you should at least make a 2 fib move off the low. So wouldn't be surprised if it comes up into 48, 8s, 49, something like that. And then see, but a lot of times it kind of comes up and then it pulls back again and consolidates. So these often turn into sort of pennants or symmetrical triangle type patterns. So you make a just a consolidation area, right? So if it does do the 2 fib bounce, then likely it'll do something like, let's see, this tool will work, right? Something like that. Anyway, we'll leave that up there and see how predictive that is. Salesforce, little rocket, good earnings, gapped up, holding it. All right, kind of filled that earnings gap. So Salesforce looks like a buy here, at least to all-time highs, but it looks like a buy. It looks bullish. Yeah, broke out of this bull flag, good earnings, already filled the gap, pushing up off that gap, quite in a healthy manner. So looks good. Netflix, are we getting close to 25 yet? Let's see, 10, 20. I will do a few more from the S&Ps. Netflix breaking up. Okay, let's see. So all-time highs, measured move objective 683. You're like, no way, yes way. This is how these things work, guys. Look, symmetrical triangle. So very bullish look on Netflix out of a horizontal pattern of resistance here. So stupidly bullish. Nike, golly, what a ripper. But starting to curl back on the weekly. What a move. Little LVN here, still pushing down. So support here might be a good spot. I mean, this has been such a bullish name. I mean, I wouldn't be buying up here, but if you're bullish Nike for, I don't know, reasons, this is definitely a spot. We have this big gap, right? So I'm more interested as we come back to the gap to maybe buy into an HVN, high volume node, right, for a bounce. But structurally, this is a good spot right here. Oh, really? Oh, I guess I'm on the eraser. Noob. Okay, so right here. So just in this area. All right, little volume node here. So, maybe go test the HVN, fill that in a little bit. So, if you're stupidly bullish Nike short term, it's a good spot. I stay out of this because of this big gap here. Right? It's likely to attract profit taking into it, but All right, let's try the clear all. All right, that's way better. Okay. Let's look at Oracle. In the channel, looking pretty bullish. Just looking on the daily here, right? Coming into the lower part of the channel. Let's see. I'm happy to see such a low viewer count because that means everybody's enjoying their Labor Day weekend. I have a pregnant wife at home and she is happy. She had a stupidly long day yesterday, so she's happy to hang out here at the house, and it's good for me because I wasn't able to chart yesterday like I wanted to, or Friday night. So here we are. So Oracle looking interesting, actually. All right, still maintaining higher lows. We've got these, double all-time high here, and we're curling up. So yeah, it might push up, upper trend line up here on the daily. So it's got some room to move to the upside. Looks kind of bullish. So I have some SPY puts that I'm holding at the moment, and so I would want the market to sell off right now because I don't have a whole lot of long exposure on individual names. But being objective, the market looks fairly bullish here. So I'm happy to hold on to that insurance and roll it higher, as it allows me to freely play the long side here on small size. But I'm just letting you guys know that my preference would be for the markets to roll over, but I'm not going to allow that to affect my bias. So Cisco is breaking out. Already tested the breakout. I wanted to buy Cisco for a pop back to the upside. It's not a very volatile name. So anyway, it makes small moves every day. So it's more of a swing kind of trade. Eli Lilly broke this upper trend line. So this is interesting to me for a short. It would be more interesting if this move here went like this, and then we went up like that and like this. So that would make this trend line come up more tightly like that. It's less interesting to me as a short what it did here, coming all the way down and establishing more of a channel. Yes, it is kind of tightening up here, but it's less interesting to me in that it didn't make much higher lows. I want to see longs just to be a little bit too long, and then as we break above here and we come back into the channel and break this, then longs capitulate, and then usually we head down to somewhere in here. But this is not quite doing. Still might be a good short, but it's not my A++ setup short, which would be a tighter or a rising wedge that goes more like this and gets really tight and then breaks it, and then longs all take profit, and then we shred that trend line here, and then longs are in trouble. But we're not quite there yet. So although this is interesting, it's hands off for me. Maybe somebody else has a better way of viewing that, but that's where I'm at. Maybe this is just a buy. I don't really know. I mean, I would prefer to buy in here, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But then you've got this trend line, and you're breaking it here and here, and then that would be a break here. So this might be a buy area, and then maybe you place your stop here and you target this HVN here. So it's still about 1-to-1 risk reward. Not great. And then maybe you hold some, move your stop up a little tighter to your entry, something like that, so it's a guaranteed winner. And then maybe it does just keep trending up, making higher highs and higher lows on the weekly, and then you hold it. I don't know, but this is not an A++ for me on Eli Lilly. Okay. Coca-Cola, just in its channel, I'm fairly neutral on this. The trend is still up, but it's a weak trend, so no play for me. We're around 25 here. Let's see, are there some other names that we should look at that are more interesting? So anyway, this guy here has already exceeded its measured move, which I thought was going to be here, 310s. So we were bullish on this guy way back in here. So it's already, it's going down to here, Corp. So it's breaking up. So upper trend line, 340s, right? I mean, obviously still bullish. Broke out of this inverted kind of head and shoulders with an elevated right shoulder. So that is always bullish. Tells you that the trend is up, rising neckline. So it gives you all kind of clues that, hey, this is not just a neutral inverted head and shoulders where it's trying to decide. It's already decided because of the neckline. Or it's giving you clues essentially. So as soon as you make that higher low on this right shoulder relative to sort of this, like that, right? See that? Truncated or elevated right shoulder, boom, explosion. So it went past my 310 measured move. So anyway, top of the channel is up here. I don't know. If you're long, I'd probably take profit. I mean, it's in a tight channel. I mean, you could wait until it sort of breaks structure, right? Here's our trend line. You could wait until it breaks it, and then you're not trying to call tops or anything like that. So maybe it comes up here, and then if it breaks trend like this, okay, well now I'm out. But who knows? Maybe it goes much higher, right? So that's what I'm talking about with trying to call tops. You could just wait, hold this, and then when it breaks structure. But as far as the measured move objective, I would have been taking profit right here at 310. Just take off the majority of the position. Then you could let a runner go if that's your trading style. But wait for the trend to change before getting out. This is a great example of letting your winners run and not trying to call tops. So anyway, XOM. I think it's just trying to be objective about this thing. Kind of an ugly pattern. So we have this as possible support. Sort of this LVN area here on the weekly. It's on the daily as well. Yeah, I don't have any opinion on this one, but I'm leaning more bearish than probably more bearish even than just saying neutral. So anyway, Verizon, it is in a buy area, I think, just because it tends to do this sort of where it makes this big rip to the downside, and then it chops around. I'm just saying that this area here is likely a buy zone. It's in the 50s, and then you sell into the 60s or upper 50s, however you. But it's a nice. It's kind of this very tight little pattern here. So if it breaks sort of a trend line here, it's going to get shorts on the run. So it would not surprise me one bit for it to move up here. We can ignore all that. Let's see. All right, so like this. If it breaks that, whoop, up into this area. So that's what I'm talking about. The buy is in this area here if it just keeps trickling down. And it's a patient play. You sell the range, something like that. And then you look on the weekly. Well, this is the weekly, but zoom back out here. Let's get rid of all that. And yeah, this is what it's kind of done, right? Make this little push down, You know, goes and gets stops through levels, and then whoop, right back up. So this is tight. This is very orderly selling here. Would not surprise me to see something like this. You see how it's kind of orderly and tight? This is even more so. And then once you break it, whoop, all the shorts cover. I think they're going to have a good time with the shorts on this one. So probably back to the upside. Anyway, ABT, Abbott. How can you be bearish on this? Look at that. It's beautiful. We're at all-time highs. So, you know, you typically get a pullback. So support would be right around 121. Okay, so at least that's how I see it. Let's see on the weekly. Yeah, right around 121. So it's common to come up to all-time highs, try a little bit, and then pull back. It's super common, but it looks good. Thermo Fisher Scientific, TMO. Where's the measured move? We're coming up to it. So I have an alert. Probably see some profit taking up there. Maybe it goes a little higher. So when it gets there, I will evaluate it intraday and see what it looks like. If it's a little parabolic, and then we have some sort of inside bar, and then we reverse on that, then I would be looking for a short. Intraday, scalp short. Okay. Accenture. Golly, look at this thing go. Don't even know what to say. Looks like the S&P 500, doesn't it? Sort of this parabolic kind of move. See if I can draw it correctly. Boom, look at that. It's like a parabola. It is a parabola, not like, it is. Hey, the next thing is just go straight up. Why don't you? Nah, it's not sustainable. It's going to come back to earth eventually, but it's in the sort of the blow-off phases of a strong trend. So starting to go parabolic, and then, you know, we'll see some sort of pullback. Likely. Anything can happen, but you see this all the time, you know, where it's like the market just starts to curl up, go parabolic, and everyone thinks it's never going to come back. Well, it always does come back, but yeah, outside of this trend, I mean, just making a healthy move. Look at all these lower highs. Look at that. Everyone this last one was like, didn't even come back to the previous highs. Like everyone's like, nope, this is the new paradigm. So going straight up on Accenture. You could probably do like a 30-minute trend line. You see how it's getting tight? Here, we'll put trend lines on it. See how it's getting tighter here? Oh. Longs are just getting more long in the tooth. Just more. It's comes a point of this is not a good risk reward for a long anymore. Holy cow. Anyway, moving on. Pepsi. So a few different ways of measuring. So I've been saying Pepsi's look like a breakout long for a while, and I would be taking profit up here at 170 first, and then a TP2, a runner up here, measured move for this whole thing up at 185.55. So anyway, bullish. It's holding sideways here. I mean, if you want to really look at it, you could say like, oh, well, here, is this a head? Is this a left shoulder? But based on this bigger chart pattern, I would not be getting short Pepsi or anything here. So, you know, technically, I guess you could say a little weak head here, but it's too close relative to this left shoulder for me to be head and shoulders. I would want to see it higher. Go higher and then reject all the way back to a trend line. So this is just a higher low, higher high in this last move. So I expect it to keep moving with the breakout. So another bullish looking one. Intel. I did not buy an Intel in this latest computer build that I've done here. I went with AMD. I ordered an Origin PC. So it's supposed to come in, I don't know, what is it, October October 4th, 5th, something like that. And it's all AMD. Let's see. Shout out to Brian. I'm sorry, Fade. Golly. No, I've got all my names wrong. Shout out to number 531 and another individual for helping me. You can disregard the first. I'm still confused today. Okay, so let's see. Intel. I don't know. Sloppy chart. I'm going to move past it. I don't know what to think about it. Costco coming up on its measured move objective, or MMT, measured move target, 474. Wow, broke that. I was actually looking to, I want to buy on that trend line. I was going to buy for a move up to the MMO. Kind of bullish target. I love this pattern here, where it comes all the way down to support and then just goes up, consolidates beneath the all-time high, and then rips straight. It's just such a bullish pattern. So anyway, Costco, I think it's going to go hit its MMO despite being above its weekly trendline pattern. Adrian Levia says, how long have you been trading? Over 10 years, Levia. Let's see, ABBV. What an interesting move here. There's some kind of news here, and I'm not going to go look it up, but close enough to... What the heck is this on this weekly? Why is that? Why did I do that? That is a weird one. Is there a trend line there? What the heck is going on? I'm going to get rid of that. That's just silly. Okay. I must have messed up. Let's go here. You know, it looks like the classic lower high double top rejection. Whoosh, straight down. So there might be news on this and a little bit higher volume here too. So kind of interesting. Let's see. Ford. Or AT&T, sorry. Ford is F, huh? Yeah, bearish. Wouldn't touch this. Also, this is doing it too. Weird. Just like, I think it's supposed to be on this trend line up here. So if it crosses this, so somehow it got messed up. Anyway, Merck. See, this one's working correctly. This alert on the trend line. Merck is still coiling. When this thing pops, it's going to pop hard. Okay, so let's move on to the Nasdaq 100. Let's get rid of this S&P. Let's find the Nasdaq 100. Let's go down to this chart here. ASML. When you look on the weekly, you know, I just want to short this for like a 6-month pullback. Just buy deep, long dated verticals or something. Put verticals, something like that. Golly, what a crazy move. But these things can go way further. So better off to wait until it makes its move back to the downside and then follow the trend. But look at this thing go. Holy cow. Anyway, let's see. Where's the next one? Cisco. Did we do Cisco? Bullish break. I think we did. Let's see. Costco. AVGO. So I'm doing the Nasdaq 100, but I'm avoiding all the things that I've already done that are in the S&P 100. Let's see. So Broadcom. Bullish. It's interesting because you have this weekly trend line here. Right? But I mean, the shorter term is it's consolidating, it's moving up. So another impulse up would not shock me one bit. Texas Instruments. Man, we were bullish Texas Instruments back in here, huh? Something like that. Anyway. It's just consolidating sideways, building up strength for a new move. So once it breaks all-time highs, I will be interested. So this one has broken a lower trend line. This is T-Mobile, kind of into what I consider a buy zone here, just based on this prior local top. So although we broke the trend line, it is still in a buy zone, right? Big volume here. That was a previous top. So this is a nice place to scale in, despite having broke the trend line here. That's not the most optimal, so maybe not an A++, but pretty good. Let's see. mRNA, Moderna. I believe Mr. Peter Resnicek, I watched his video. He's bullish on this. So we have kind of short-term, I guess, a balance area here on Moderna, right here, right in there. So if we break it, double balance, then maybe looking at 461. So I could see. So if we pop up to 424 and then hold the breakout at 410, 411, 412, something like that, and then it pops, then yeah, looks good. You could take a shot here with what, a stop maybe into 381s or something like that, you know. So big mover, but why not? Why not? Kind of an interesting little play here. I don't know. Sharp pullback, consolidated. It's a nice little balance play. Okay, Qualcomm. So it broke that trend line. Let's see. Let's take a different look at it. And now it kind of looks like Tesla, doesn't it? A lot like Tesla. So it's not like overly bullish, but you know, it's setting up possibly for a bigger move. Let's see. Okay. For me, this is still the one that got away. In here. When I was living in San Diego, I knew one of the Qualcomm engineers that was working on a big project for Apple. And he was telling me things, and I was like, I'm not going to trade on that information, insider information. And then that was right in this area. And he was like, man, I'm buying like crazy. It was here. Yeah, right here. He was like, buy. Huge move, doubled from there. Anyway, yeah, kind of looks like Tesla could set up for a big move. Honeywell, springboard kind of action here. Could be a little inverted head and shoulders, truncated right shoulder. Looks bullish. Into it. God, this thing has made such a crazy move to the upside. I was interested in shorting it here, breaking out of the channel. If it came back in, I was, just interested in taking a short on a parabolic move. It didn't really go parabolic above the channel, just kind of steadily, ground up here. If it had a candle kind of like this one in this area, where it just went straight up and then boom, rejected, then I would be interested in a short, but didn't really play out. So anyway, we can get rid of this thing. Remove drawing. Okay. So this is interesting. See how this candle came straight up? So this is earnings, and then whoop, back down. But now it's being bought up again. So I don't know. Charter up at the weekly trend line here. So it is at resistance. If you're long Charter, it's prudent if you like taking profit to take profit in these kind of areas here. So, and looks like somebody was taking profit here short term. Smart. Anyway, Starbucks. I had an alert go off on Starbucks this past week to buy. Right here, this had an alert at 114, so we're up at 117 for a little pop. Did I take it? No, I was trading futures, or the Nasdaq futures specifically. So anyway, the reason I liked that is because of sort of this area here where it found support off this big blue candle, and then just the tops of the bodies up here. So I figured, oh, this is a nice spot for a intraday or multi-day swing. So we violated it just by a little bit, And so you could have placed your stop down here at like 111.60 below the volume node here. And you'd be at about 1 to 1. But I think it's going to go higher. I think it's just going to keep grinding up here. So you could always go long here and place your stop below these lows, right? So if it continues trend up, you know, maybe target the 50% or something. That's still, it's not even 1 to 1, so, you know, it's not great. Or you can target new all-time highs. What are the chances of that? Let's see. Let's put a trend line up here. Kind of a rejection before the third tap here. You see that? 1, 2, 3, and then space. And not the most optimal of setups. So, yeah, we would avoid that. AMD. Have to look at this one. This is interesting. Look at that on the weekly. 1, 2, 3, and that was the spot to go short. I missed that one. But it's on support here. Except that, man, that candle with that tail. Yeah, I'm looking more at 97 halves to be interested here. So we're gonna go ahead and put an alert here on AMD a little bit lower. Where is it? Where is it? Create alert. Okay. Let's see, at or below. We'll do. Man, why is the refrigerator door going crazy right now? Someone's leaving it open. Okay. So if we come down here, I'll buy. That would be a complex kind of retracement, right? Wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. It would be like here, pull back, higher, complex retracement, and then go. Then we'd have a trend line like this. That would be a bull flag. So that's why I say I'm interested in fighting for location here. It's a stupid low volume area, LVN, right? You see that? So filling in the volume here, probably shake out a lot of longs, and then you'd have that kind of complex retracement thing going on here. So, yep, that would be my plan on AMD. I'm severely distracted by the refrigerator beeping. Finally stopped. Okay. Nope, it's still going off. I'll be right back. It's been going off for like minutes. Sorry about that. Wife is cleaning the refrigerator. Pregnant woman working hard. Props to her. Okay, so that's what that was about. It's not normal to have it go off for just forever. Okay, I can focus now. Okay, so looking on to Amgen here is broken the lower trend line. This is not a. I mean, it's in range, so horizontally it's in range because it's made moves off this level the last few times. But I don't like the fact that it broke this trend line here. So yeah, mean reversion a little bit down to 211 is likely, but I'm not interested here where it's at now. I mean, obviously there are some buyers here a little bit, but I'd be more interested in this LVN, not where it's at here. And then that gives me a little bit better risk reward, right? So you can risk, say, 211s, and then you're, maybe 198 or so is a stop, and then you can play back to 240s. So that's better than 1-to-1 risk reward. So I like that. PDD, let's see, am I at 25 yet for the Nasdaq? Let's see. So PDD, oh, this This is not looking very good. Oh, that's what I wanted to look at on AMD. I want to look at the fib retracement. Add drawing. Where's the fib tool? It's right there. And I wanted to see if the complex retracement goes to about the 618 and then holds on this area, which is where, yeah, it would be. See that? So there's confluence there, and I wanted to point that out. Mentally, I kind of kept track of it and knew that was about the 618 into this LVN. So you will likely get a nice move here on AMD if we get down here. Again, if we get down here. So just wanted to point that out. That was one of the things that was scratching my brain before I got distracted by the refrigerator. Okay. Intuitive, ISRG, surgical, broke its weekly trend line, still moving up. Bullish chart. It's interesting because it broke the trend line, pulled back, and then ripped again, and now it's going. So looks bullish. JD. Now this is kind of a popular one for people. Pull back off its 618 and has ripped 2 fibs straight to the upside. I think we may get some consolidation, but it looks this is a bullish chart, especially because we broke down like this and rapidly came through back through the whole consolidation like it was nobody's business. Good earnings, so yeah, this one may run to the upside. Applied Materials, AMAT. Oh, this was a heartbreaker for a lot of folks. It pushed up through this trend line and then just sold off. Kind of came back to the same level, now pushing back up. So pretty choppy, but I like it still to the long side because it's consolidating this whole area. So a little more time, and then maybe continuation. Okay, team. Let's see. Let's check the. Okay, nothing on the chats here. Huge gap here off of earnings, and it's gotten a little crazy. So once the longs start taking profit, it's going to come back to 350, and then you've got this huge gap here. These tend to fill. So this is one of those extremely parabolic movers. Oh, let's get rid of all this. Right? Well, that would be the perfect perhaps. Okay, so it's not quite doing that. This is where I wish I had TradingView, right? TradingView is a little better fit than this. And then it just goes straight up. So, but it's not. You had this consolidation here. Then it consolidated above or at all-time highs, just above in a range, and then straight up. Holy cow! Not the place for a long, but I would be considering. Sure, I'm gonna note this down for myself to go look at the fundamental picture of what's possibly driving this. If there's no news or no anything on it, then I would be considering a short. Mean reversion short. These kind of charts. It's just interesting looking at it though. Anyway, MELI, Mercado. We've been bullish on this guy. There's a little gap. Really, really nice chart. In Discord, I was sharing this chart as an A++ setup. I hope people made money off of this, but it's a really nice setup. So I would imagine it's going to go challenge all-time highs here. Higher lows, higher highs off of a very nice pennant. So nice pattern here. I'd say this area is the if it pulls up here and then pulls back, this is the buy zone. But let's see, we go trend line here. Let's take a look here. How we draw this. Yeah, I mean definitely going a lot more parabolic here. So trend line from here to here, it's we need to see movement to about here, then pull back to a sort of a trend line here, and then break the short-term channel, which is just very vertical, right? Like that. That's short-term price action, right? Getting tighter. So I'd like to see it come up here, break that trend line, come into volume node, and then make another curl back up for all-time highs again. Let's see, BKNG. On the 30-minute, just in a nice little range here, so consolidating. You would expect off an impulse like this, continuation, right? That's the trend. Guild. Let's see, where are we going to go to? We'll go to MU, and that's about it. And then I'll move to movers, and then requests, if anybody has any. And then, well, maybe we'll end it with the indexes, charting the indexes. Anyway, so Guild. Let's zoom out here. See how I've got the alert here on the weekly? Guild is likely to go higher and at least touch that trend line, which you could see it on the daily here. And then if it breaks it and holds above, pulls, you know, let's say it comes up here, rejects at these wicks here, and then comes down and then bounces. Oh my gosh. This looks like a sort of an accumulation down in here. You see that? The tight ranges, and now we're breaking above the 69s right now. That's sexy. Okay. Zoom. Let's see. This was a heartbreaker for me. Looking at it on the 30-minute, short term, very short term, definitely making higher lows and higher highs now. And then this was earnings, which disappointed. I bought 340 on earnings, stopped out 332. Said, well, this isn't working like I thought it was going to. I lost money. And then I bought, again, I bought 307s, held overnight, and I got out in pre-market when it didn't pop. It didn't move up at all. So tiny, tiny profit on the overnight, but net loser for me. So whoever told you TYP doesn't lose lied. I do lose. Like, I lose with the best of them. Okay, so, but still a net winner overall. So I'm profitable in my trading. Anyway, I digress. On the weekly, doesn't look so great, but you know, a lot of times these gaps do kind of fill. Still a good company, I think. Their forward sales estimates were projected down, so that's what caused all of this. It may take a long time for it to kind of go test this area. Probably needs some sort of fundamental driver to get us back into this gap. So to me, this is not a great play for the short term. I would want to see it. I don't know. I think it's likely, based on this weekly bar, that we come down and test this 273 area. That's just me. At least test it and see if there are buyers there. It's an HVN, high volume node. Yeah, we found support here at 290, but this is not a good swing or long-term trade for me personally. But, you know, for a long-term investment, yeah, maybe we do come back up into this area in many, many moons. Something like that. Let's see, what's the next one? ADP. At its weekly trend line and has pushed up and pushed back in. So this is, for me, more of a short than a long based on what it's been doing, you know, outside of this weekly trend line. So ADI in a buy zone here at 162s. Yeah, so you had this prior 1, 2, 3 taps, all-time highs, and then it came back, made a range, starting to break up. It moves in a very sloppy kind of way. So it's up, back down, up, found stops, made a bigger move, back down again. Oftentimes when you get these stocks that sort of oscillate and then they make small moves and then they make bigger moves, the next time it comes down, it makes an even bigger move to the upside, right? So anyway, that is the pattern here. It's finding a little bit more volatility. So I think it's in a buy range, looking to expand up even higher. But, could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah, that's just a short-term pattern here. We've got this consolidated box we broke up. We're coming back to it. If it breaks this low and comes back into this area, then I'd be more biased short to get back down to the range low here at 143. So, if it hits 153, I think we're likely to go take a swing at 153 and just test that area. So LRCX in a range, not a very clean trend line here. A better trend line might be this on the weekly. Let's see if we can go find it. Yeah, so still fine. So likely in a range. See how it reacts around here when it gets to this trend line. So for now, this guy is in a nice little range here. Oops. Come on, thinkorswim. Oh, it did work. That was weird. So in a range, would expect it to move back to the upside. Kind of a bullish looking chart. MDLZ. So we're almost at MU here. One more ticker. And let's see. Mondelez Entertainment. So it broke this level. I'm interested in buying it back in this area. So for now, my interest lies in the 59 to 60 and a half. So let us let's put an alert here. Create an alert. At or below. Weekly support level. So that alert will pop up, alert me on my phone, and then I'll take a look at it in real time and say, how's this working? What are the rest of the indexes doing? What does the market look like on a day like today? Is it hugely red, and are we breaking out to the downside? Well, then maybe I won't touch it. But if the market is, in a bullish state and we just hit that on that stock, then I would probably be looking to buy for a multi-day long or something like that. So that's how I do that. Micron, we need to move this trend line up here. Move this one as well if it'll allow me to select it. Okay, there we go. So in a downtrend for now. I'm interested here on Micron. So no interest anywhere else. Okay, so let's see the movers. Coinbase. Let's go look at it. Lots of volume here at 230. So Coinbase is kind of interesting. Starting to make higher lows and has made higher highs. And Bitcoin is moving into what, 50,000 right now? 50 and a half, something like that. There's the higher highs, potential higher lows. So a retest of this local high here would not surprise me on Coinbase, which would be what? Let's see. Let's get rid of this. 290s. So a little bit of upside here. So yeah, Coinbase is, it's trending up, right? It's rounding out on this bottom. So looks like more upside to me. We already did Nvidia, we already did Zoom, we already did AMD, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Facebook, Tesla, we did NEO. Oh, NEO's interesting. Look at that. Right? Yeah, so if NEO can break above 46s, 47s, that is interesting to me. Because then it tells me we may see a potential trend reversal. So if it breaks above here, right, let's just say, let's get the let's get a price rate tool. So if it breaks above this area here, and then it pulls back and makes a higher low relative to this area here, then it may swoop back up and go for this next level, which is 54, 55 up in this area. So kind of interesting. So something to watch. This was an LVN here way back when. So I was saying this is a buy zone. See how it popped right off of that? When I had identified it back in the day here, what was the level it popped? Foosh, right off that level. And a second time, foosh. So interesting. Not a lot of interest to transact below the LVN. So value established higher relative to this zone, which, man, that was back a while ago last year. So interesting to keep those little notes. WMC, who was asking about it? Peyton Smith. Peyton said, WMC has huge potential to skyrocket. I don't know. I've seen charts like this go to zero, man. I'm not a fan of buying a chart that looks like this, where if you're long, sorry to crush your dreams, but all right. This is an area balance. And what does it do? It doesn't even break down. I mean, it's a long area of balance. Like, look at this. 5 years. And then when it breaks, it doesn't just double balance. It triples balance to the downside. Look at that. And now here we are in another range. You want to hold another 5 or 6 years? I don't know, my friend. Just because something is beat down doesn't mean it's going to go back up. It might. And maybe you know something about the fundamentals of this stock, right? But on the weekly, this looks horrible. So I would not touch this with a 10-foot stick. That's just me. Look at all that volume here. It hasn't gone anywhere. 40 million shares in a week. It's just been in a downtrend. You know, better for me personally. Here, let's get rid of all this junk here. Personally, I'd be more interested if you did something like this, and then it goes sideways, and then it starts to break the trend line. I'd be more interested in that, but then my sell would be at the bottom of this consolidation area. That's where my sell would be, is into that. So 850. So if it, let's say in a few years, obviously that's the time frame we're looking at, if it broke this trend line, pulled back, tested it, and then went, I'd probably get long at like 6. This would be my trade. Stop would be like 4 something, long would be 6, and then I'd be getting out TP1 at like 8 or something. And even then it would be a long-term trade. So I'd be like super tiny on this position. But here, no way. Yeah, no way. So that's that. Let's see. MO, Altria. Look at that. Bullish chart. Very bullish. Broke its long-term downtrend. See that on Altria? Just long-term, and then finally broke it. This is the kind of thing I would be wanting to see on, what was it, WMC? Yeah. But WMC didn't have this kind of look. It's just like, break to new levels, consolidate, triple balance to the downside. Now we're consolidating at roughly the same range on a percentage basis. No thanks. Let's see, Blink. Oh, this is an interesting chart. You know, it's got these sort of these trend line potentials. I don't know, something like this. It's definitely in a range here, so you could probably buy it here and then sell this range. If it goes down a little bit, sell this range. So you could put a fairly tight stop in here. Don't risk too much. Don't bet the house on plays like this. But, you know, small, tiny percentage of your account, swing trade it, right? look for look for a few bucks to the upside and sell it. You want to hold shares? Fine, make it a free trade. Sell half the position, keep your stop up there. Maybe move it up a little bit. I don't know. Free trade. But anyway, hood. Wah wah wah. Not in an uptrend yet. Making lower lows, lower highs. Already filled this gap. Didn't pop much. So what IPO price was, what, 37 or something like that? So, technically not a great chart. Is it trying to find a bottom here? Kinda, sorta, but it's not making higher highs yet. It's only making lower lows relative to this swing low, and now it's made a lower high. So the next thing is, let's go see if it makes lower lows, right? Maybe this area will be support, right? Big volume node right in here, 39, something like that. Like a lot of this movement relates to order flow for payment and stuff like that, which I think if Congress is smart, they will continue to allow, because folks like us get better fills for that because of that. So anyway, BYND. Gosh, this has broke my heart a bunch of times too. Very volatile chart, right? Makes lower lows and then lower highs. This is what I was talking about earlier on. I can't remember what it was, but when volatility sort of increases. So if we make a lower low here, I wouldn't be surprised if there's news and it's like all of a sudden we rip even higher or something like that. So GME, yeah, maybe I should include AMC in this list. All right, AMC's in the list. Let's see. I don't know. Still a tulips chart to me. Lower highs, just consistent lower highs. Would not bet the house on this moving to the upside. No way. But people are trapped, so the hypothesis is there's hopium in this name because people have bet too much on it, which is why I say it's probably going to come back down to below these lows here at some point. But the volatility is just gone from this. The big traders are no longer trading this name. Just an FYI. This is all retail. So as it slowly sinks back, and if we pop this level, it's a bit of a descending triangle, right? With the descending triangle being something like this. Like, what are you talking about? You're not seeing the same thing that I am. No, I am. It's just not happening as the slope is just not as extreme as this, but the base is still there. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. Maybe some hedge fund will come in and start shorting too much again, and then they'll get obliterated again to the upside. So, but that's not really a fundamental move. It's more of just a, Wall Street bets, everybody buying, squeezing the hedge fund kind of move. I don't know. Not a. I think that's played out. It's already happened 1, 2, 3 times. I think it's already played out, but I could be wrong. Let's see, AMC, kind of the. Wait, did I add AMC? Yeah, we'll just type it in, whatever. Rejecting off that low volume node or area we haven't done a lot of business so far. But, a lot of people are going to be looking at something like this right now. Oh, if we break that, then rip. But then we've got that LVN here, and then we've got the HVN here. So, upside is limited to about 51 or so. You could probably put a stop underneath this area on AMC. 37, 38 would be. So this would be lower high, lower low, complex retracement, and then break it. So maybe 37 if you're going long here. So 7 points, and then the upside I think is limited by this consolidation. 51. Yeah, I mean it's 1 to 1. Not my play though, for sure. So okay, let's go to the indexes. SPY. Look at that. Now that is a trend. Look at that thing go. What a trend. Oh, come on. All right, let's see. We'll go to here, and then we'll go here, and then we'll go there, just to get a better idea of it. Mitch, you said, I think you're a little early on that short. You're probably right. You're probably right. I am early on my SPY put vertical short. I am probably early. You are on the money there. Yeah. Sort of lower part of this channel. Golly, what a trend though. Look at that thing go. Let's see. Let's extend this trend line here. If you include this, right, I mean the price action is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So that's why I'm willing to take it a shot at it here, right? It very well could just go kind of parabolic and hit this upper trend line, 467, 470s. And, you know, I'm wrong. So uniform too. Higher lows, higher highs, consolidation, pushing back. I'm just looking at this. I'm counting waves too. 1, 3, man. Elliott wave, right? 1. Is that a 3? It's kind of messy. 1. Yeah, see, I don't know. It's not that clear. But anyway, consolidating up at this trend line here, with what was a pretty, oh, is that a real wick on SPY? I cannot remember. Let's see. Yes, it was for the overnight, huh? I think so. Anyway, holding up near, well, at all-time highs here essentially, and right below this trend line. So I think we probably go up, find liquidity above it, or at least test it. All right, and then we have this broader channel here. So, and remember, we already looked at Apple, we looked at Fat Man G, we looked at Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Tesla. Nvidia is up there too. Let's here. Why is that up here? Did I not have that by market cap? I may not have. Let's see. Market cap. Okay. Nasdaq. Okay, yeah, never mind. Okay. Nvidia market cap. Yeah, it's way up there. Anyway, all those high market cap names looked very bullish. So, and looked like they still had some room for upside. So that's why I think those names will likely take the indexes up. Banks, you know, they're kind of in a questionable area, so that would be the financials. That plays a big part with the S&P. But even if they rotate into various names, which Resnicek talked about in his weekly video, I agree with him. You know, it's as long as they're not rotating out of everything or selling out of everything, this market can easily grind up. So it sucks to say it for me, but I think we're going to move up as I hold my put verticals, right? I have paid for those verticals in the last week of trading, so I'm okay with that, going up and having insurance and peace of mind to play the long side game at all-time highs up here, which, you know, I'm looking off the COVID lows. Yeah, I'm like I'm like anybody else. Holy cow, how long can this sustain? Yeah, there's going to be a pullback at some point, but typically we sometimes get some sort of parabolic move, shred all the trend lines, and then whoosh, back down. So it's not going to go on forever. There's going to be a correction. But, can you play against the trend long enough to stay in the game? That is the question. So picking tops is not a fun game in a bull market. Let's see. So that's SPY. I think SPY is going to go higher. Oh. Failure to communicate. QQQ. So broke out of this, I don't know, kind of a symmetrical triangle. And it is now moving higher. So if you go like measured move 340 down to 297, what is that? Plus 43. So plus 43 from here is approximately 390. So 390 is MMO. Let's put that in there. Let's see how it reacts at 390 if or when we get there. It's a rough estimate. Okay. So Nasdaq looking healthy. Why wouldn't it move up? It's consolidated this last week at highs, accepting highs. I don't know. Sometimes we get a little fake out move into LVNs and then whoosh, then we rip. It's pretty normal. So it's like here, right? You had this low, these highs. How many people drew like balance in here and then said, oh, well, if it breaks down, I'm going to go short, right? It broke down and then it ripped. So that's normal for, you get like these balance areas, then it goes test the LV and rejects it and then traps shorts. It's a bear trap and then it rips straight to the upside. Okay, so that's QQQ. Let's look here. Let's start drawing longer term trend lines on QQQ. Let's just see what we can come up with. All right. A lot of people were looking at this trend line here. See that? Maybe kind of cuts through the top a little bit. Well. All right. There we go. So consolidating right on this weekly trend line. Let's draw a lower one now. It's not going to be that precise. We're using weekly bars. So there it is. The new paradigm. Stocks only go up. So anyway, measured move up here. Golly, that would find the liquidity, wouldn't it? Everybody continuing to get bullish into September. That can happen really fast, and then we get some sort of sell. We have the Fed on the 22nd of September talking a little bit more, and that could affect the market quite a bit. So who knows? I'm holding these SPY put verticals into October, so I will be patient with it. I'll keep rolling them up if price moves up. If we get a sharp rejection, then maybe I'll take off the side that I sold, which right now my verticals are at like 350. The SPY, 354 and 340s and 39s. So 14 point wide on that, or 14 points wide. Okay, QQQ, IWM. I think we're all looking at the same chart, just in balance. Had this up for a while, this balance area. See if it breaks up. And I agree with Resident Check. If we start seeing the Russell break out, it's like animal spirits. Everybody wants to be long all the small cap stuff. The dumb money's long. Then I think that's topish. So let's watch it real carefully this next week. So if we break out, we've had 1, 2, 3. If we're now coming back for a fourth time, I think this market's going to go higher. Oh, what a funny little trend line that was. Okay, so I think the IWM has a chance to go higher. I mean, it's in the resistance zone, though, for this range. But just because we've come up one to this exact level almost at 234s. 1, 2, 3. We've come down to the level, what? Well, let's see. 3 times to the downside too, so who knows? Maybe it's stuck in a range. But we're in a bull market with everything else. This has gone sideways. Testing all-time highs is more likely. And because, again, I do agree with Peter Reznicek that everybody's gotten, not everybody, but a lot, including myself, have become September bearish because of seasonality. And so to push a little higher and shake out all those September seasonality bearish folks would make sense, because markets always move to the path of greatest pain for the least capitalized players. So yeah, little up and then down would not shock me one bit. Okay, there's IWM. Now we got the diamonds. All right. Been a little while since. Let's see. I think the next trend line is to do something like this and see how it behaves on a break of that trend line. But like that. So decision time for the Dow. But it's made a little bit of a base up here, so let's see if it, explodes. This kind of had a choppy pattern here, and then it eventually broke up. So let's see if it happens again here near this trend line. If you put the weekly trend line all the way down here, right, it kind of runs the same area. You have to ignore this. So if you go like that, obviously it doesn't matter, right? It respected it here, but now we're sort of in another area that this trend line wouldn't matter if you put it through here, unless it's like an upside resistive trend line, but that's super sloppy. So anyway, I like putting the trend line here and then see. So we're coming up against like a little wedge here. So let's see what happens. Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah, I think that's it. If there are any requests, I'm happy to chart those. Don't know what kind of delay we have on this feed. Let's see. Let's look at my stream health here. Stream settings. I'm going to wait a little bit longer and then make like a baby and head out. Nothing. Let's go look at Discord real quick. No, nothing on Discord. Okay. I'm happy to chart anything that you guys are interested in having me chart. I don't know exactly how much latency is on this stream right now. About 25 seconds of latency right now. So anyway, that's been enough time. Have a great weekend, folks. Hope you have a good Labor Day. Markets are closed for equities or stocks tomorrow. Futures will open tonight in about 4 hours. Trade overnight, and then tomorrow an early close. So it'll be 12 p.m. Chicago or Central Standard Time. So they'll be closing well, quite a bit earlier. So the cash close, it's about an hour. Let's see, 12, 1, a few hours earlier. So anyway, have a great weekend. Take it easy.